Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, Alfonso Speaks, and welcome back to more Darrell Brooks content. Before we get started today, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and follow me on my social media accounts. At Alfonso McCree Jr. on Instagram, at Alfonso Speaks on TikTok. Man, let's get this thing going. This is another one of my favorite moments in the trial. It's the sentencing day, of course, and this day is so important obviously because of the sentencing, but this moment in particular where this came this came after a couple of things. So the previous day before this had been spent the entire day doing victim impact statements. Now just think about that for a second. Normally victim impact statements will maybe take up at most half a day, right? Because you're having people read things, you're having people maybe call in via Zoom, make statements, stuff like that. Cool. This took an entire day for all the victims who wanted to speak because he injured and damaged so many people. Just absurdity, right? But this also came after he had had his grandmother, his mother, and his best friend speak on his behalf. And after he had spoken on his own behalf for 2 hours, which we will definitely revisit. I already did a video on it, but I want to do another one. Who cares? Like, hey, we recycle content here because it's just the gift that keeps on giving. Um, this was when Judge Dorrow was giving her sentencing remarks, and he really started not to like some of the stuff that she was saying about him and his actions on November 21 of 2021. And he had, surprise, another outburst. So we're going to check this out. I don't like that camera setup. I like it like this. There we go. Okay. Had to do a little flipperoo. Okay. So, yep, the title of this video is Darrell Brooks' outburst leads him to being removed from the courtroom during sentencing hearing. You guys already know what's about to happen. But again, just one more reminder, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Do it right now. Do it right now. Do it right now. Follow me on the social media accounts. Do it right now. Let's go.
I'm not even here to say that some of those things can't coexist and you might not have some of your own mental health issues, whether it be bipolar, childhood trauma, or things of that nature. But the bottom line is none of that caused you to do what you did on November 21 of 2021. I want to next turn to the trial in this case. And I think it's important that the sentence here today focuses on your conduct on November 21 of 2021 and the moments leading up to that tragic and fateful decision of yours to drive through the Waukesha Christmas Parade, and of course the moments after. I, of course, through my sentencing remarks and ultimately what I do here today, I can't answer all of the questions. I can't address all of the issues, including the why. Perhaps the one question that will remain unanswered. Why? Why did you barrel down White Rock Avenue? Why did you not stop?
That is the question. The question that just cannot seem to be answered. Even Darrell himself can't answer it. Why? Like, why did you run all those people over? For what? What did you gain from that? You lacked in self control to that extent where you couldn't stop yourself from running over 60 people? I like what attorney Opper says in her closing remarks, where she says, how can you hit one person and keep going? How can you hit two people and keep going? I mean, it's unbelievable because it's like I've hit a deer, I've hit a squirrel before, I've ran over a pothole and nearly stopped my car. If not, stopped my car. When I hit the deer, I did stop. How do you not have it within you to say, "Oh my god, I just hit somebody?" Even if you're in this fit of rage, right? You just got out of this fight with Erica Patterson and Nicholas Kirby. You just got out of a fight with them, and now you're angry. You're driving away. Okay, let's say you did hit one person because you were just that angry. How does hitting that one person not immediately snap you out of it? Like, what kind of psychotic animal do you have to be to barrel down 60 people? How do you keep going? I don't understand. It's confusing to me because, as somebody with a working conscience, I can't imagine doing something so heinous. Like, yeah, we all might do something when we get upset. Like, we might throw something at a wall. Or, like, you ever been in an argument with somebody and you want to throw something at them? But even in that fit of rage that you have, you throw it at a wall or at the floor or just somewhere other than them because even in your fit of rage, you have this consciousness and understanding of, I don't want to hurt this person. That could be a really bad thing. Where does that exist in Daryl? And to be completely honest with you, I feel like he was more far gone before this day even started. I mean, you got to think back. He had already tried to run over Erica with the same vehicle a few weeks earlier. And I just feel like a lot of his behavior was going unchecked. And we saw evidence of that with how his mother was trying to get him out of this situation. If you think she was trying to get him out of this, but didn't try to get him out of the smaller things that eventually built up and led to this, she obviously did. And that lack of accountability, along with repeated actions of heinous activity, kept building up and building up and building up to where eventually now we're looking at a situation where this has gone unchecked for so long that it's built up into his personality. And this is who he is now. And so that thought process that one would have, oh, I'm about to make a bad decision. He had so many chances to do the right thing, to stop while he was ahead. Let's start after he gets out of jail for trying to run over Erica. He has the opportunity there to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed at Erica. I feel like this is her fault, but I don't want to get myself into any further trouble. So you know what? I'm gonna just stay away from her. But he can't do that because he's been abusing and controlling her for so long. He feels that he is entitled. He is entitled to do what he wants when it comes to her. And that's been going unchecked for far too long. And then think about, she tells him where she is because she's like, okay, you want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation. She tells him where she is, where to meet her. He goes there with bad intent. Ladies and gentlemen, Milwaukee to Waukesha is not exactly a 5-minute drive. And in fact, I'm going to tell you exactly how long it is right now. To get to Waukesha from Milwaukee takes at least 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Right now, it's saying if I were to be in Milwaukee right now and leave and go to Waukesha from there, it would take me 33 minutes. So 33 minutes of time you had in that car on the way from Milwaukee to Waukesha to think about, hmm, what am I doing here? Is this the best decision? Is this something I should be doing? Hmm, I don't know. I don't know about this one, right? But no, he couldn't even regulate his mind to do that, to calm himself down on a 30-minute car ride. How angry do you have to be to have that much rage, then start a fight when you get there, fight two of her friends, and then drive down the street, make a right turn, and just start running through people and running over women, children, old men? What is going on? What's going on? And so when Judge Dorrow is reading him to rights here, she's absolutely 100% correct. You are a complete danger to society because you have no respect for anything other than what you want. But now you're in a situation for the rest of your life where it never is going to matter again what you want. These prison guards and this warden are going to tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it for the rest of your life. You have no freedom. And I think this is a result of, again, no discipline as a kid. And I say that specifically in relation to the fact that when I was younger, even when I felt like maybe the punishment wasn't warranted based on whatever I did, I would still get grounded, you know? Like when I did something wrong, I would get grounded. So I would sit in my room for a week or two. And that felt like prison. I got a taste of what prison actually feels like. To where now, as an older adult, I understand that if I make certain decisions, that becomes my reality for the rest of my life. It's not 1 to 2 weeks at a time, it's years at a time. So when you're making decisions, when you're making choices, all that stuff has to run through your head. But if you've never been forced to have that type of accountability, it's not going to run through your head. And that is exactly what created Darrell Brooks, a series of events that started long before November 21 of 2021. This started a long time before it, and it culminated in this episode. And here we are now, 6 lives needlessly lost, and dozens with life altering injuries because this man couldn't control his temper. It's sad.
Why did you keep going? Many of us in this courtroom sat through the entire trial. And what we learned is that very early on in the afternoon of November 21, starting at around 1 p.m., the police got ready for the parade. The staging area was set up, and that was all along White Rock Avenue. Signs were put in place. Ultimately, barricades were put up at a number of locations on Main Street and surrounding that. We know because we heard from Sergeant Warner about what he had done, and he had, right before the start of the parade, had driven down the parade route. It was on his shoulders, his responsibility to make sure everything was safe and in order. What's important about that staging area, sir, is we know that is where the altercation with Erica Patterson really came to a head. We all watched that video, multiple videos. And we know that even before that, you appeared angry and upset. 2 individuals testified about you being at that mobile gas station, how you turned the wrong way down a one-way street, waved your hands in the air, rolled down your window, either exchanged gestures or words with one of the drivers. Perhaps 30 minutes or so before the start of the parade, maybe an hour or so before you drove down the parade route. But what's important is the signage. Even you, at one point, I believe when you were talking with Detective Carpenter, noted, it was my words, my assessment, it was clear something was going on. I think what you said was a lot of shit was blocked off. You'd driven past those signs on the staging area. The fact remains they were there, sir. And the fact remains is you told Detective Carpenter that.
And so he's getting started already. He's starting to say stuff under his breath. And it's just, again, it's like Attorney Opera said, everything he does is so cowardly. Everything he does is so cowardly. But when faced with, people that can actually defend themselves or people that have clear authority over him, he shrinks. He shrinks. And, this is his last little thing. He knows what's about to happen. He knows what's about to happen. The language that Judge Darrell is using, he knows what's about to happen. And so this is just his last little middle finger to everybody in the courtroom. His decision to act out here. He has no intention of handling himself with any type of class because he has no class. He has no respect for anybody that's in there. So why would he? Like this is what he's choosing to do as like a last stick it to the man, but it doesn't change the reality of where he's headed.
We then heard from.
And real quick, sorry I keep pausing the video, but this is when we talk about what we could do with um disruptive defendants in the courtroom. You had all the options. She continuously decided to just put him in the other courtroom, which is fine, during the evidentiary phase of the trial. However, verdicts have been handed down now at this point. I don't think anybody, after watching this trial, would have complained had she told the sheriffs to gag him so he could shut up. Nobody wanted to hear anything he had to say. And I totally understand the optics of it, right? Like, especially as a black man, trust me, I get it. You being bound and gagged in a room full of white people, like, yeah, that might look weird. Maybe they want to avoid those optics. I understand that. However, there does come a time where race does not matter in the situation, right? And what he did on top of how he behaved in the courtroom, to me, completely justifies go ahead and using that option of gagging him and forcing him to shut up and listen, because I feel like the one thing that I didn't like is that when the verdicts were finally not the verdicts when the sentence was finally read by Judge Dorrow, he was in the adjacent courtroom, and it just didn't feel as powerful as it could have been if he was forced to sit there and listen, in first person to all those people applaud as he gets his life sentences. He didn't have to do that. He was listening to it from an adjacent courtroom. And so that's the one thing I wish they would have done differently. I can't really complain about anything else that they did because everything else that they did was very calculated. It was for a reason. There are no grounds for an appeal, and we love that. But this was the sentencing remarks. This is the time where you can do that. You can gag the man to get him to shut up and sit there quietly with respect. But they chose not to do it.
The witnesses related to Miss Patterson, we heard from Corey Runkle, we heard from Erica Patterson herself. My impression, based upon Erica Patterson's testimony, who, by the way, she showed grace and dignity facing you, the man who clearly has no regard for her as a mother of one of your children, as someone you had a domestic partnership with and a relationship with at one point.
That's not true.
We know, and I would say this goes to your character, what was shown through that altercation and going up the hill, following her, slapping her. The rules don't matter to you, not the rules of the road, not the rules established by court orders, not the rules even of decorum and decency. And I'll get to this more fully when I talk about your character. And I know you went hard at Attorney Opper for her bringing these things up, but those are legitimate, lawful sentencing considerations. And when I get to that point, I'll tell you the case law that supports that. Your character, even your pending cases.
I don't need no case law.
We know at the time of all of this, right, you were out on bond for 2 felony cases, one involving a handgun, one involving the same vehicle and Erica Patterson, and one involving ultimately intimidation of Ms. Patterson. We know that on November 20th, and she was very contrite about this. She told you where she was. She invited you out there, and that you had contact with her on the 20th. There was some physical
contact with her on the 20th.
Mr. Brooks, this is my time. You need to not interrupt.
That's the reason why the charge was dropped.
Mr. Brooks,
the state
you need to stop.
And he's not going to stop at this point. He's just going to keep going. He does not care at this point. He wants to be removed from the courtroom because he doesn't want to have to listen to any of this. Like, sitting there and listening to the music is tough. If you've ever hurt somebody, which we all have, sitting there in front of them and listening to the ways that you've hurt them is really, really humbling, and it's really uncomfortable. Now imagine sitting in a room with everybody that you hurt sitting behind you and a judge sitting in front of you telling you all about yourself and how bad of a person you are and how pathetic you are. Somebody with the fragile ego of Darrell Brooks is not going to take that well, and that's what's happening.
Specifically wrote you, Your Honor, and said that they know it was no incident that day.
Mr.
And
Brooks,
now you want to sit up here.
do not interrupt me or you will be removed to the other
and now
courtroom.
you want to sit up here
Stop.
and try to
now.
add something in that you know for a fact never even happened. You want to sit up here
Mr.
and talk
Brooks,
about
every
who has
time-
grace and all this. You talking about someone with 5 kids that don't have custody.
You need to stop
None of
right
them.
now or you will be removed.
Remove me then.
Remove me then. Yeah, so that's yeah, you know what? That's probably the text I'm gonna put on my thumbnail here. 'Cause that's yeah, he's a character, man. He's a character, and not the good kind. We got more Darrell Brooks content on the way. As always, like, share, subscribe. Follow me on social media at Alfonso McCree Jr. on Instagram, Alfonso Speaks on TikTok. And I will see you guys very soon in another video. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed. Deuces.